Hey guys, is it any better now? I've just been trying to simply replug the microphone. Maybe it's a bit better. I don't know. It's better. Okay. Now it's good. Okay. Thank you. I was worried that I would sound like a dolphin. The funny thing is, I couldn't hear myself. So that means I will have the surprise when I will rewatch the the stream to see how I sounded like for the few first seconds. Okay, thank you guys for joining us. I see Randu, I see Outsage there, Outsider, true. I need to pronounce it like outsider. I remember now. And yeah, Mr. Undercover Anonymous is here. Apparently, you speak Dolphin. That's funny. One of my best friends was doing very, very good impressions of dolphins when I was a teenager, and that were probably some of the biggest laughs I had in my entire life, because he would always find the completely inappropriate and unexpected moment to show off this skill. For example, right when a teacher would ask him what the answer to a certain problem was in math because he was terrible at math. So yeah, anyway, thank you for joining us. And we will be starting, that's what I was explaining just before with my dolphin voice, that we will be starting with the um, advanced and hardcore mode for today. And I'm not gonna get you to wait any further. The event is on, so we should be able to start. Let's see with Paper Tiger first. Yes, that's it. Perfect. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to explain why the stream was delayed by half an hour today. It's fairly simple. I simply couldn't have another timing for an appointment for one of my dog. Everything was fine. Simply, vaccinations and stuff like that that you need to do for dogs. And yeah, there were no other times to do it, so I had to postpone the stream by half an hour. Hey, Narcissus, welcome. So yeah, that's the reason why it was postponed. And right before the stream, I realized that one of the funny jokers of the community decided to register again the broken account, Elatanar, which is the account that blocks the entire game. It is very likely that this account anyway is going to be fully banned because it's an account that no one has logged on for a very long time, that cannot be played anyway because it has a broken graphic element onto it. So yeah, it's gonna be probably banned this way. If it's banned, the system will not add it to the fight night when I'm adding the list of player, and this way I won't have to quickly recheck if it's in there. I actually just thought about checking it because during the last recorded fight night, this account showed up and I had to recut the entire fight night because of that. So yeah, definitely something I need to keep in mind. Okay, so for today, there's a few things I would like to talk to you about. And first of all, starting by giving you some news on what's coming up, what's coming next for Battle Legion, because there's a few things I can share with you. The first thing to know is that starting February, we will be sharing with the entire community a roadmap, a current roadmap. So it's not a roadmap of the next 6 months or something like this, but it will show you what we are working on for the current month, so that you see the month after that what has been achieved, what got delayed and why, and where we stand on the next steps. This will be a document that we share with the community every month. For the people that are joining the stream or watching the replays, you will probably not learn too much from those documents because it's pretty much what I'm already telling you most of the time. But in some cases, it will allow people that are not necessarily watching the stream or might not have understood what I meant, to have a quick check on this. And so the first one will include what's coming for February. For February, there are 4 things that will be coming into play for Battle Legion. The first thing is, welcome. First thing for February will be Unity updates. You know that this has been a big topic for us for the last 2.5, 3 months now. We have some issues with the current version of Unity that we are using with the game. There are 2 different problems. Hey, no need to apologize if you have to go. That's perfectly fine. We'll catch up later, and you will be able to watch the replay anyway. So yeah, there are 2 different issues we have with Unity. One of them is that right now, the current version of Unity that we are using is causing issues. You want the microphone to be a bit louder. Okay, I will put myself a bit closer. That should be better, right? Is it better now for you? Yes, perfect. Okay, great. I don't want to put it any closer because then we'll go into ASMR kind of territory, and no one wants that. Especially with my incredible voice, that would be super weird. So yeah, as I was saying, there are 2 issues we have with Unity. The first one is that for some players, depending on their devices, they are facing issues with the system we use for our ads. So the ads that we use in game are using a specific service, and Unity has a bug with this service right now, which means that in certain region and under certain circumstances, it's gonna freeze, and it's freezing at the end of the ad, meaning that you have a freeze, but you're not aware that you had a freeze. So the game is not granting you the reward because the game kind of crashes. But for you, it doesn't change anything. The ad is still being played. So once the ad is over, the game relaunches itself, but it's not granting the ad because it has no idea if the ad was watched until the end or not. So that's one issue that we have. The second one is that it causes more freezes in general, and there's a higher crash rate for specific devices and configurations as well with this Unity version. Unity worked on a fix. They have deployed it, but it's not a full fix. It fixes roughly 70 to 80% of the cases, and that's something I already told you before Christmas. They were working on a full fix for the first quarter of this year. On our side, we've been doing everything we needed so that we can update to the second to last version, which is what we're gonna do now. And Unity just released the brand new version. So in February, there should be 2 Unity updates on our hand, either by the end of February, or the second one might be early March, but the goal is to have the 2 of them in February. The first one will resolve roughly 75-80% of those cases, and the second one should resolve the remaining one. Just to be clear, it will never be 100% fixed, meaning that even back with Traplight or any other game, there can always be a freeze of the game at one point for many different reasons, or there can always be one ad that at one given point will not be granting rewards. That's still gonna happen from time to time, but we should be very far from the situation that some players have been facing for the past month at this point. So that's big focus for us in February, but that's not all. The second thing is we are now almost done with our website relaunch. So it's a website that is going to be quite interesting because it's going to be an hub for the game. There will be a lot of different things you can do on those websites. I cannot really tease you too much because it's a big deal. But yeah, this new website is coming in February if everything goes according to plan. We had both internal, external tests, etc. Everything is okay. We're still tweaking few minor stuffs. and the website will be released this month. Now the third thing, which is what you guys care the most about, if everything goes according to plan, by the end of February we will run the first version of the global red boss. This first version of the global red boss will be, I will sum up pretty much what's the global red boss for those that didn't watch other streams, etc. The global red boss is the equivalent of a red boss, except that everyone in the entire community can attack this boss, and that instead of attacking a boss, killing it, leveling up the level of the boss, etc., as you're used to, what will happen there is that it's a boss with an insane health bar, and everyone on the community is going to attack this boss until it has no HP left. If collectively we defeat the red boss, we have good rewards for everyone. If collectively we fail, we have participations rewards that won't be as great. But that's just one aspect of it. The second aspect of the global red boss will be leaderboards. There will be two types of leaderboards to start with, and you will see that we will expand on that afterwards. So in the first version, there will be a leaderboard for the most points. So that's basically the most damage dealt to the boss, basically. So that's something you're already familiar with. And there will be rewards. I don't remember the exact number. I believe it's for the top 100 on the entire server that will get specific rewards on top for this achievement. And there will be another leaderboard for the number of attempts, and there as well, top 100 will get rewards. The reason why we are not going simply with the points or the damage is that some players, even if they were trying super hard and spending a lot of time in the event, simply because they're not yet strong enough, they would have no way to rank in the top 100, even if they were deciding, hey, I'm gonna stack up all the keys I could get, I'm gonna get premium keys, etc., and I'm gonna use all of that in one event, and even with that, they would not be able to be anywhere at the top. With this system, we want to reward anyone that really goes the extra mile within this event. The third type of leaderboard, which won't be in the first version, but probably in the following iterations, will be to add a clan leaderboard, where all the clans will be ranked based on how many damage they dealt, and potentially there could also be one for the most attempts, but for the clans it's mostly going to be the damage that is going to be relevant. And the idea on the longer run is that this will grant you titles to show off that you guys, you were the top 100, or you were in the top 50 or the top 10 or top 3 or top 2, top 1 of one specific boss. And same will happen with the clans. So you will have the titles. Of course, you will have rewards as well for what you've been doing. But that's pretty much what we're working on and what will come by the end of the month with the first version. The first version is going to be pretty much a beta version. We don't know. We basically tested it internally. We're still testing it at the moment. But for such an event, there are some stuff that we'll never be able to simulate perfectly until it goes live. So the first event is going to be a beta, and we'll see if there's any more tweaks that are requested. Once the event is running smoothly, maybe that can be from the first version, we'll see. But even if it takes 1 or 2 iterations before it works great, and especially once we have also the clans leaderboard, then we'll be focusing on putting some regularity to this event. In The ideal scenario, that's an event we would probably run every other week or once per season. So it's either going to be once per season or twice per season, but I believe that what they're looking at so far is once per season. So that's what we're looking at for February. After that, we have a lot of different stuffs we're working on. As you know, we are still working on balancing. So just to be clear, what I mentioned for February are the main stuffs. There will be balancing changes coming in. As you've seen in the last couple of seasons, we're trying with every season and with every era to bring more balancing changes. So that will continue a little. But after that, after February, there will also be, so that will probably be for the era after the next one, there will be a proper artifact rework. The artifact rework, it's not 100% final yet, the direction we will be going with, but what seems the most likely is that we'll pretty much add more levels to the artifacts and redistribute the progression within the artifacts with two goals. The first one is that for new players, it's something where you progress a lot more regularly, because right now, for a new player, before they get their first artifact level 1, it's an eternity. So that's, you know, something that will progress faster. Leveling to level 1 and 2 and 3 will be a lot faster than it currently is. And the very last levels will probably be a lot harder to get, because probably even just the last level will probably be something where there's a hard wall, like you know, we decide that whatever artifact it is, it will never be able to go higher than this value, and that means you basically keep on improving it, but you're just getting closer and closer and closer and closer to that value, but you can never cross it. So that means past a certain point, that will be an exponential system, which would mean pretty much that it can go on without us having every year or every 2 years or every 3 years to think, okay, what do we do with artifacts? The other thing is that if the progression is a lot smoother overall, that means that we will also have the opportunity to bring new artifacts, because right now it's impossible, because bringing a brand new artifact right now is going to be such a grind for players to even just start to see an advantage in this, that it doesn't make much sense. With this new system, that would allow players to try on a new artifact and see if they want to go further into that with a lot less efforts on their hand. So that's definitely something we're looking at. You know that we are working on ads as well. So for the ads, there's a few things I wanted to mention. The first one is, and I know you guys all know about this, we have one spot at the moment for which we prepared an ad system, but it doesn't work. This is for the gold in the shop. The reason why it's not working is because this is based on your ranking, right? If you look at the gems, it's pretty much, you know, it's giving the same amount of gems to everyone, and it's a very small amount. But for gold, for it to make sense, we had to make it so that if you're rank 1 or 2 or 3, you're not getting the same amount of gold than a rank 16. The problem, from what I understood, that we have right now is that this can be exploited, because when you reach rank 16, if you go down and up and down and up and down in terms of the trophies that you get, you could re-trigger the timer to get the gold offer in the shop. And since there's a certain amount of opportunity to get it without watching an ad every day, that could potentially be heavily exploited to get way more gold than we should. So we are reworking completely this logic for this event, for this ad. If we can fix it, that's fine. If we cannot fix it, and regardless, let's put it this way, regardless whether or not we're able to fix that one, there are other places where we've been working on adding ads options for a long time. So they will come probably later. I would expect this maybe for the end of spring or something like this, but that would be, there are a few different options there. I know that they're looking, for example, to the wagons to allow you to watch an ad to double the rewards you get from that wagon. But, it's optional. If you don't want to, you don't have to. There would be the same kind of things for, like, if you don't have that much time left to wait for a wagon, you could skip that waiting time completely by watching an ad. There are a few things like this that they are looking at. So these would be the next set of ad placements that would be coming in. And then there are a few things that were actually requested by players quite a few times. And those are options that from our side, from the get-go, we're missing in the game. And what that means is, for example, to us, it doesn't make sense when you compare to any game like this that, outsider, no, that's not what I meant. You cannot fall from rank 16 to lower rank. But what I mean is that the system, the way it currently works, is that it's not looking at your rank, it's looking at your number of trophy. And whenever you hit the, I don't remember the number, I think it's 3,500 or something like this, the rank 16 trophy spot, it will re-trigger the timer. So that means if you stay at the bottom of rank 16 and you basically just go for one fight where you win, one fight where you lose, you would re-trigger the ad. So some people could purposely just do that, and basically every 2 fights they could have the ad option shown again. And that would also mean potentially that every 10 times or whatsoever they would get it for free. And now if you do it over 200 tries and you do those 200 tries as often as you can, then potentially that means you get 20 times the rewards for free. So that's where it becomes a problem, because if you can get that 20 times when it's supposed to be once, I mean, you would not necessarily be able to do it every single day, but if it could be potentially exploited. So that's why we're looking at it. Sorry. So yeah, that's basically some of the ads we're looking at. I know that they're looking at a few other things, but what I can tell you for the ads, pretty much the same as what I told you a few times already. We are not looking at any options that would enforce an ad to the players. So it will remain something optional. You want to go for it, you can. You don't want to, you don't. It's also important to note that those were already prepared and almost ready some months back. We decided against releasing any of that because we have these Unity issues. So that's why it's coming after that. It's because we wanted to have the Unity issue resolved. New wardrobe with Eternite, with all skins in it. It's gonna come. I don't know yet when exactly. So there are two things to that. The first thing is, you know that with every new era, there's the rotation of one wardrobe. We want to include more skins into these existing wardrobes. So already with every era, you should be able to see some skins in the wardrobes that you didn't see so far. The other thing is we will keep having several times a year, I don't know how many times, a small event where there's a wardrobe for Eternite that is full of skins that were not available for Eternite yet, but that will be really punctual. The main reason being, again, Eternite is something that you can get quite easily in the game, and at the same time, we want to make the best out of the skins, because the more revenues can be generated from skins, the less we need to look at implementing any pay to win kind of aspects, right? So that's why we focus on that. And because of this, we want to allow players that are free to play or that want to keep their gems for something else to be able to get skins with Eternite. And we know that for the players that have been there for a super long time, they kind of run out of opportunities to get new stuffs from Eternite. So we are gonna change the content of the wardrobes a bit, and there will be events, you know, like for the anniversary and stuff like this, where you can use your Eternite a bit more. But there will never be an insane amount of new skins for Eternite, etc., simply because that would cannibalize the current existing model for Eternite. So that's not really an option that we have. Technically, we kind of need to go that way. So yeah, I guess that answers the question regarding Eternite. Regarding skins in general, one of the things we're looking at, and you know about this because we already mentioned it a few times, we are looking at improving the system for we're looking at improving the system for the how do you call them, for the season pass. Sorry, couldn't find my words. So we're looking at improving the season pass, and that means we want to put more aesthetics, more skins in it. The deal that we want to go with the season pass is to offer 2 layers of season pass. The current one would probably change a little, but not too much. But the idea is to offer a premium season pass, if you will, above the existing one. Or let's say, you know, you would have a premium and a VIP one, which would grant even more content. And the reason for this is that the season pass is the most popular purchase in the game. We have tons and tons of players that will never spend for anything else than the season pass, and we understand it because it's almost the best value for what you pay for. So having another layer of the season pass is something that makes sense for us, because some players would be interested in going that way. And on our side, we would be fine with, you know, granting more so that the value of this second season pass is a lot better. Also, it's not like it's gonna be a €50 kind of thing. You know, it's probably, it would be less than the double of the existing one, or up to the double of the existing one. The existing one would always be there. We're not gonna take that away. We might edit the content, but not linked to that, just linked to the new events that are coming in, because we will need the season pass to also reflect that a little, but the value per dollar that you invest should remain the same and remain super valuable for you guys. Just a second, I will switch to the, no, I will wait, sorry. I will wait until we're done with this part of the hardcore advanced players, and then I will go on and turn on the lights, because the sun is going down already. And it's true that usually, since we start half an hour earlier, I didn't have this much issue with this, but right now, yeah, it starts to get dark. I feel more and more like you're gonna have to deal with the emo version of me. You know, it's gonna turn into Gotham City in a few minutes. So, hey Matt Remar, welcome to the chat. I don't think you missed anything too important. I explained a bit more what was going on and what will be the updates regarding Unity, with 2 Unity updates coming this month, hopefully. And when I say this month, I mean February, obviously, since we're the 31st. So that would be hard to squeeze 2 updates, 2 Unity updates in less than a day. And we mentioned again the global red boss and what you can expect from the first version, which will be pretty much of a beta and will come hopefully by the end of February. That's the plan at the moment. And then there will be a V2 that will include more elements. Most importantly, in the V1, you will have the rewards that the entire community gets if we defeat the boss, and 2 leaderboards, individual leaderboards for the number of points, which is, you know, the damages that were dealt to the boss by yourself. And the second leaderboard will be the number of attempts. The reason why we have those two is simply because some players might do a lot of attempts but are just way too far for ever being able to get close to the top 100, and we still wanted to reward the effort of going this way. So this way there will be rewards for 2, and that means as well some players will get rewards for the 2 leaderboards, and that's super good for them. One thing I didn't mention earlier when we discussed about the red boss, the global red boss, is that one thing specific about this red boss is that it has phases. So since it's only one red boss with one crazy big health bar, for it to not be too monotonous and for you guys not to have to fight the same boss every day for the entire duration of the event, this boss will have phases. Once you see the design of the first global red boss we picked, you will understand it. Let's just say that it's inspired from mostly the Greek mythology, I would say. And yeah, this global red boss will have phases, which means once collectively we killed 25% of the health bar, we'll turn into another phase with different attacks, different bonuses, maluses, etc. Once we kill another 25%, there will be another phase, etc. The numbers I'm giving are potentially wrong. I don't know where they put the different phases, but that's just so that you understand the mechanism as well. And now you can see how darker it gets all around me. Yeah, I might need to start taking a deeper voice and talk like this because that's so dark and edgy. Okay guys, so what else can I mention to you? I was explaining a bit earlier that there are now rather clear plans for how the year will look like. The clan war system that we're looking at gets more and more defined now. It's probably going to be for the second half of the year, but it's most likely going to look a lot like what we already discussed once or twice. So something where it's not just you fighting other players from another clan and that's it. It will be a system where you collectively as a clan have to go for a setup when the event starts, decide, you know, your lines of defense, who is going to be setting up an army for what, etc. Set up everything, and there will be kind of a conquest system. So if you want to represent it to yourself like the journey levels, imagine that you have a map like this and you will have points of interest. At the beginning, half of them are yours, half of the others are your opponent, and you will have to decide whose army is going to be in which points and how you set up those armies to fight back against your opponents. Then the event is starting, and at this point I'm not sure if you are still able to make changes or if you have to stick to the armies you picked. I would think you still are able to make changes along the way, but yeah, that's something still needs to be fully defined, and you will fight each other, which means that, you know, the strongest in your clans will focus on defeating the strongest elements of the other clan and the other way around. This way everyone can contribute and participate. So yeah, that's roughly what we're looking at, and we are still looking in the direction that I mentioned once already, where we want for you as a clan to have not necessarily a castle, but a place, pretty much a physical place to defend, because that will also mean that this place is the place of display where you will be able to show off your last victories, that you will be able to customize a little to really suit the identity of your clan. So that's still roughly what we're looking at there. What else? So yeah, you guys were asking me a few times lately news about the merchant system. It's still being worked on, and currently that's something we would be hopefully looking back into for spring or early summer. And for those that have no idea what we're talking about, we're looking at a system where you have a merchant that pops up at certain time in the marketplace, and it will pretty much offer you deals. Some are super good, some are super bad. It's not monetary deals, it's you using some resources against something else. It's a trader, right? So it's gonna offer you, I don't know, to trade shards of a specific unit against I don't know, artifacts, shards, or fragments. It's gonna offer you stuff like this. It's gonna tell you, hey, do you want to exchange 10 shards of that unit against 5 of this unit, or the other way around, depending on the units we're talking about and the stuff, which means it will allow you guys to get rid over time of the stuff that you don't care about and get stuff you do care about. But at the same time, since the event will not be on all the time, and because if you don't like the offers, you will have to either wait for the next offers to show up, or you will probably have an option to skip that if you want to spend gems for it. But that means still, for players that don't want to spend money, it will still grant them an option to exchange resources they don't need against stuff that they need. And this is important for us, but because it's not something permanent, we can afford to have this, because that's something I discussed quite a few times with you guys, that having a strict exchanging system permanently in the game, that would impact the economy way too much. So that's why having a system like this, it's still going to help you out, it's still going in the direction you guys want. At the same time, it's not going to hurt the economy on the bigger scale. So everyone should basically be winning from that. And you see now I'm almost disappearing into darkness. Yeah, it's funny, but I don't want to put the be right back kind of thing as well. Getting close to the end of the list. Let me see where we are at. Yeah, we have 14 battles to go. 14 to go, then I will turn on the lights, and yeah, less than 10 minutes. You should still be able to see me. If not, then I will pause the event. Well, yeah, you know what? It's really getting too dark. I'm gonna do that right after this fight. We're gonna take 12, 13 seconds for me to just stand up and turn off the light. Turn on the light. Okay, let's see if that works. And we are back. Can you guys still hear me? I think we managed to do this rather quickly, right? But at least I can see myself again. It's gonna be the stream to watch in replay, because at the beginning of the stream, there's 30 seconds of silence because YouTube wouldn't show me if I was live yet or not. Then you have me sounding like a dolphin because apparently the USB to which my microphone is connected was not working well, so I had to replug it once you guys told me, and then I was slowly falling into darkness. It's gonna be a funny funny stream to watch in replay. For those that are watching in replay, I'm sorry, that's how lives like this go sometime. But yeah. So yeah, I think I told you pretty much everything there was to know about the merchants system at the moment. Probably for the summer, that's what seems the most likely. I'm trying to think if there's anything coming in that I didn't mention, or that is not too far away, so that I can mention it, because I don't want to yet mention anything that we plan to work on for the second half of the year, with the exception of the clan wars, because you already know that this is worked on, but I don't want to mention anything that is yet still way too far from now. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else in there, but I don't seem to think of anything else. Let me see. I think I had a document that I opened earlier today with some of those stuffs. So on my other monitor there, I can check on that, and this way I can basically see if I missed on anything that I could mention to you, obviously, because I know there are stuffs I cannot mention. Oh, actually, yeah, there's that, because this, I think we never discussed that yet. One thing that we're looking at, it's not final yet, and it's just being worked on as a concept for now, is a system to allow you to boost temporarily the rewards that you're getting. And so that would be something you get as a reward in some events and stuff like this, or that you can purchase. You have both options, and that will increase the rewards you get during a certain time. So let's say you have 200 auto spins and you want to use that and go for it, then you can use this and get, double rewards for your 200 spins or something like this. It's still being looked at, because, for example, I don't know how that would work with the gold limit. It would probably need for the gold limit to be doubled when you're using this, the daily gold limit. But that's one thing that might be coming in, that we are looking into indeed. What else? Yeah, I think I already mentioned it, so I will just clarify it because now it's clear. It's not the case for this era because this was too short notice, but starting with the next era, every era, final season, final week, ground show or something similar will come back. More than likely, this will be a new character, because ground show is really too linked to Christmassy and to Christmas time. But what we'll be doing with this is that we're looking at also impacting artifacts for that final week. So that would be some units are boosted and nerfed, some power stones are boosted or nerfed, some artifacts are boosted or nerfed during that final week. So yeah, we're still looking into that, but that's one thing that should come very soon. I do not know if for the next era it will only be a similar version to the one we've known so far, or if we'll already start tackling the artifacts at the same time. I'm not sure on that, but that's an option for sure. Yeah, what else? I'm trying to see, is there anything else I didn't mention? Oh yeah, that's potentially more for a bit later, but one thing we are looking at is to add more goals in the game, quests. The current ones, so the daily quests, the weekly ones, we feel like they're not necessarily fitting the game at this point that much, we will leave them in there, obviously. But one thing we're looking at is to add seasonal ones. So you would have your daily, your weekly, your all-time achievements, and you would have as well seasonal or seasonal ones. And the seasonal ones would be something where it would look a bit more like the achievements, because you would be asked to do a certain number of kills, a certain number of X and Y. So that would be a bit more like the actual achievement system. So that's something we're looking at indeed. And yeah, that's, you know, also probably something more for the summertime. But yeah, that's something we're looking at indeed. And yeah, we're looking at rewards that would be a bit different as well for this system. So I don't know, I don't want to spoil anything about the rewards we're looking at, but the idea would be that the rewarding would be different and a bit more engaging than the daily and weekly quests that you currently have. So Whiter Hacker 54, you should add a new effect called Bleeding. It's basically poison but doesn't affect anything around the unit, just the unit that's hit by a sharp thing. Why not? As I often say, we don't have any restriction or anything we do not want to do in terms of effects. The question is, would it be something that a unit does, or would it be like an artifact? Because if it's an artifact, the bigger problem is it's not going to be that valuable compared to some other, or would it be an actual an effect of a power stone, or would it be just a new condition that could be caused by either an artifact or a power stone or a unit? There's the bleed power stone. Yeah, I don't know if it's the same though. Okay, so apparently it's already that. Well, then you see, we listened, we did exactly what you wanted. We had no idea, we did, and it's probably by trap lights back then, but yeah, it's there. I like when we're able to satisfy people within a minute like this, and you know, that's perfect. We could make a new unit with this special power. That's true. That's true. Actually, you know what? I can tell you something for the upcoming era. The new unit we're looking at, I don't remember if there's several units, but at least one of them is based on the animal that I'm the most afraid of. So no, it's not the killing whales that, you know, I told you everyone already a few times that I love killing whales, but no, that's not based on an animal I love. It's based on an animal that I actually really dislike. And yeah, it's gonna look quite interesting, I think. Okay, folks, so that's basically it for the Hardcore Advanced. So I'm gonna grant the rewards right away. There we go, and now we're gonna move to the other account and go directly into it. I should add as well that for the easy and medium, fight, there's one player that typed his nickname instead of the player tag, but still put the @ at the beginning. The problem is that the nickname is so generic that there was no way for me to find who it was. So I'm sorry if that's you. I think it was Nathan, the name. So yeah, Nathan is, we have hundreds of accounts with that name. So just a reminder, well, first of all, if that's you, sorry about that. Reach out to me and we can still put you in the recorded fight night tomorrow, even though it's true that it will be for the regular hardcore, but advanced hardcore. But you will tell me if you want to go this way. We can do that, and if not, we'll make sure that you are included in the next fight night. But please make sure when you are registering that you're using the good nickname and the good player tag. If you don't know where to find your player tag, you can find it directly in the settings, and this way you are sure that you can join us without any problems. I just came. What are we doing? So I don't know if you've ever joined the fight night before. If you've never joined the fight night, what we're doing here is pretty much I am fighting players that registered with an army that they were able to prepare for, and we have two categories. So we just finished the advanced / hardcore category, and now we are into the easy and medium category, which is why the army is not nearly as strong, obviously. And yeah, we basically get through all the players that were registered for this category. For the advanced hardcore, there's usually too many accounts. So what we do is that everyone that did not register for this day, everyone that registered but were not selected for the community stream will take part in a fight night that is recorded tomorrow. The only difference being that there's not my face and the chat, etc. It's an actual video. But this way, everyone has the opportunity to contribute to the fight night. And for us, it's important to do it this way, because otherwise, and we've done it in the past, we need the streams to be super long. And ultimately, it's not ideal for anyone to have a stream that lasts for 3 or 3.5 hours, because that's the longest I've done. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're doing and where we are. And yeah, at the same time, I'm usually using this time, since the fights are usually very fast and there's not necessarily so much I can comment on, we use this time to talk about what's next in Battle Legion. And we also use it so that you guys can ask us questions. So if you have any questions about the game, anything that you want us to do or consider, any complaints, any positive feedback, we take it all and we discuss, and that's what we do in these community streams. And it's already going super fast, so I think I can already tell, because we have 43 accounts in this category and we are already done with almost, yeah, it's the number 8 right now, so it's gonna go quite fast. If you have questions, if you have any topic that you want to discuss, anything you want to bring on, hey, free gold, that's not that often. Not that I really need it on a test account like this, but still, it's nice to see that it comes up from time to time. Yeah, so if you have any question, anything, any topic you want to bring on, now is your time, now is your opportunity to do so. Eitza, is the game viable right now? I'm not sure what you mean by viable. If you want to discuss whether or not it's economically viable for us as a company, then I can tell you, yeah, okay, that's what you meant. Then I can tell you that yes, I'm not going to give you any numbers, etc., but we already did improve quite a fair bit on the numbers when we acquired the game. And we see that it's not just 1 month is super good and the next one is bad or something like this. So it's not like, the Christmas effect or something like this. No, it's actually sustainable, and we see things growing on that side. So it shows that the decisions we took so far were the good ones. There are stuffs we did wrong at the beginning, obviously, and still now, but we are going in the good direction. We see it, for example, the units, the skins, etc. The last units we released, the last skins especially that we released, performed a lot better, and a lot better than the first ones we released, but also amongst the best in the history of the game. Not for the units, because of course the early units, there were a lot more options you could open. But for the skins, they're definitely performing very well, so that's something good. And we know that we have big things coming up on that direction, especially for me, it's important, and for this month, it's super important. The Unity update, it's not going to be helping us revenue-wise directly, but it's going to help so much for newcomers that right now would just feel like, hey, this is how the game is. It freezes, and ads are not granting rewards. If you're a new player and that's what you face, and you've seen that on Discord, some players coming in to complain about that, and sadly we had nothing we could do with this. So the Unity updates that we will run in February, that should be a great help. And obviously, once it's not a beta but the full-fleshed version, the global red boss is gonna help a lot. I also don't know if it's gonna be called the global red boss. We might have a different name for that, so don't be surprised if it doesn't come out to be named this way. Okay, there was a question from Matt Remar as well. What do I think about an event or PvP mode that use a smaller map and fewer army points? Actually, I talked about that, I think, in the last stream, because we have a system similar to that in another game. And I feel like this could be quite interesting. A smaller map, it's gonna be tough, because that you need to do a lot of physical changes there. What I think could be interesting is a map with obstacles, for example. That could be quite interesting. Or on the other end, something like having fewer points, that can be quite interesting. Something I mentioned last time could be having a PvP fight where half of your points have been decided for you. Like, you have to use those units. They are there. They are already on the battlefield. You cannot take them out of the battlefield. You can only move them, and you can add other units to make a build that fits your style, but you have to use those ones, for example. And that could be interesting, because you can go into super, super crazy, out of the box kind of things where it becomes a challenge indeed. But so that's something that could be quite interesting indeed, Matt Remar. The only thing I could say is that for now, given the features we want to bring this year, because with everything we talked about, I think there's still like at least a third of what is planned in terms of feature that I didn't mention at all. I think it will probably be too packed for us to bring another mod on top, right? We will probably, this year in terms of game mode, you can expect the global red boss. Hopefully for the second half of the year, the clan wars. If we release that this year in terms of game modes, that will already be very, very good. I have a squishy army. Yeah, so that's true. The thing is that this army is initially really meant for very brand new players. Like, for example, right now, I'm fighting players with artifact level 5, 5, and 4. To me, that's a player that should be playing in the upper league, right? And since you're getting rewards for that, and the rewards in the upper league are better, there's no real reasons to go for that, but some players still do. Technically, the way I designed this army is mostly so that it is an interesting fight for all the players that have artifacts up to level 2, potentially 3. Like right now, see, it's a level 3 artifacts. There's a bit more fight, there's a bit more uncertainty about the outcome. But it's definitely not designed to be fighting against level 4 or 5 artifacts. Could Revenant get an immunity bypass attack? We are looking for long for a buff for him. So a buff for Revenant, that's definitely something I can bring to the team, and we can get something like this. But having something like a new immunity bypass attack, etc., that might be a bit more of something that would take a lot more time, right? So it's not something we can do just with the regular balancing with every season. That would be something that would take a bit more time, but we can look into that. Do we have an estimated time frame for the global red bus? Yes, Matrimar, sorry, I didn't remind you of that. End of the month. End of February, we should have the first version, which will be a beta. And then once it's running properly, the idea is that it would run at least once per era. At least. Probably once per season, but that's not entirely sure yet. So my gut feeling is that ultimately, if it runs well, if it's working fine, it might happen every once every season. You should add some ounce for some skulls and use the ghost art so they're all rushing fast. Oh, you mean for my army? Yeah, that's something I can look into. This army anyway has been slowly changed over time, and right now it doesn't make much sense anymore, and I changed it for the last stream. So usually I try to keep the armies going on for 1 or 2 streams, so most likely for the next stream I will actually change it. Hey Matrimar, you're excited for the new change? Yeah, I am too, and we'll see what the leaderboards look like. Again, one thing to keep in mind, but we will communicate about that quite clearly when we get to the release time. The first version will be a beta in the sense that no matter how much we try with such an event, there are way too many things that might happen that our internal tests will not reflect. So we need to see how it performs in a live environment. So that's something we will have to remind every player before this event starts. It's like, hey, this one is a beta. After that, once we tell you it's not a beta anymore, it won't. But the first version at least will for sure be considered a beta event. Okay. So I'm checking where we are because we're moving so fast already. We have about 15 players left. So if you have questions, okay. Shouldn't skeletons be immune to mind control and poison? It depends if you're looking at the lore or if you're looking at balancing. If you're looking at the lore, then yes, it would make sense, like undead units in general should be immune to certain things, etc. The thing is, the more we advance in the game development with more units, with more effects, more conditions, etc., the more flexible we have to be with the lore, because the issue we face is that we also need a global balancing for the game, and there are some units that would be immune to too many things, or on the other end you have some units that would be immune to nothing, because for example, what could a hound be immune to by definition? Nothing. So that's the reason why we have to be cautious about this. Let's not make it too complicated for new players. Yeah, I mean, for new players anyway, it's a learning curve. I can speak by experience because I was a new player really not that long ago. So I know that quite well. It's a learning curve. One thing that I didn't mention that we want to work on as well this year, which is linked to that, is going to be the journey levels. That's also why, I think I already mentioned that, but we don't release more journey levels at the moment because we want this rework to take place. And the idea is that we want the journey levels to be something that the new players really focus on a bit more than right now. Because right now the problem is newcomers, they start the journey levels, they progress for like 20, 30 levels until they hit a wall because they need to level up their units or they don't understand the strategy they need to adapt. And then they forget about it for weeks. And then they come back to it, they bypass 50 levels in a row, and then they're blocked again. And that is, first of all, it's not really satisfying. It's not really a progression system. And it ends up not being the best learning curve we could get. So it's most likely going to be progressing in a way that we rather have you play a few levels with every time you log into the game, rather than have you not play the journey levels for 2 months and then do 40 levels in a row and then not play again for 2 months, etc. So that's one of the things we're looking at as well. The mechanism might change a little there. The rewards also might be a bit more interesting. We might mark a bit more the moments when you leave a zone and enter a new one. There are stuffs, you know, we would like, for example, when you enter a new zone, to really make it look like it's a big deal. So that means granting better rewards that there's an achievement, and also potentially you need to unlock the new zone by, you know, you need, I don't know, units a certain level or whatever. You need something that unlocks the new zone so that there's a feeling of progression throughout, which right now does not really exist in the journey levels. And it's important for new players because this is how they are learning the game the most. Of course, players that really want to be engaged, it's gonna be via their clans, it's gonna be via Discord, etc. But when you're a newcomer, you're most likely to end up in a clan with newcomers or people that joined just some weeks ago and don't really know how to teach you the game because they don't know yet much more the game than you do. So that's really something we want to also work on somewhere this year. Okay, we have about 4 accounts left. So guys, if you have questions, any questions, it's now or never. It's your chance. Well, it's now or in 2 weeks, but Wind Diver should get some health buff. Again, that's something we can look into. In general, we don't have any strong feelings about balancing. What I usually do is any suggestions of balancing that come my way, I share them with the balancing team and they look at the data to back this up. So they say, okay, you want a buff of this unit, but we already see that it's used by 65% of players, or it's a unit that is leveled up by a lot of players, meaning it's still actually quite good, or it has a winning ratio of that amount of percent. We do these kind of things and we see if it makes sense or not. And then there's also cases where it's just common sense, and when we read the thing, we're like, yeah, of course, it makes sense and let's just do it. So that can depend, but that's roughly how we look at things. And we are fighting Doskan. Doskan is our last player for the day. I must say as well, I don't know what it is with Doskan. He's really often the very last player of this category, or the second to last, or something like this. And I don't know why it is, because I randomize the entries. For whatever reason, is always in the very bottom of this category. I don't know why it is. Doskan, I know you jump in the chat from time to time. Maybe you will watch this in replay. If you watch this, I'm sorry that you're often in the very end. Maybe it's just me. I'm doing this because I want you to watch the entire thing. No, really, I have no idea why it's like this. Okay, folks, that's basically it for today. So unless you have any other final question, final thoughts, anything you still want to tell me, otherwise that will be it for today. I'm leaving you 5 seconds to type something. You better type faster if you want to say something. Thanks for a great stream. Thank you, Madramal. Thank you, and thank everyone. Thank you, everyone that joined today's stream. As a reminder, February Unity updates. Hopefully, the global red bars at the end of the month, and the new website will be also there. Last thing to mention for February, you will get the first community roadmap, which is pretty much just what I just said. Just a summary of what we're working on the technical side, what we're working on in terms of content. So that will mean we'll tell you, hey, right now we're working on this era, this season, this kind of assets, and what we're working on in terms of features. So right now the team is focusing on the new website, the global red bars, etc. I mean, the new website, it's not really a feature, it's done by another team, but you know what I mean. Yeah, there's a lot of new things coming in. Can't wait for you guys to be able to enjoy all of that. Thank you again for joining us. Have a wonderful evening, and now I need to go check how I sound when I speak like a dolphin. Thank you guys, and have a great evening. Bye.